All right, folks, welcome into a very special Thanksgiving edition of Three Dog Thursday. Gobble, gobble, and maybe even woof, woof on the program. I am the somewhat capable host. 3 underdog winners last week, TJ Rives. He is the man we bow to from winningcureseverything.com and the Winning Cures platforms. Welcome back, Gary Segars. Brother, I've missed you. Yeah, I'm glad we have proof of life. I know we have proof of life because I've seen you on the BetUS college football show. I've seen you as well on all the Winning Cures, great content, favorites, totals, all the above. So I know you've been doing well. But
if you've seen me, you've seen the bloodshot eyes, right? That's
I miss commiserating with you. I miss going back and forth on Three Dog Thursday. I'm glad you're back. My thanks again to Jason Powers last week. And before that, Brian Edwards and Kevin Rogers for helping fill in. But typically, Gary is here with me, and it's not a typical week. Again, we're coming your way on Wednesday because we fully understand everybody with family and the food, all the F's, the football, the fun. I realize that Three Dog Thursday doesn't resonate on a Thursday afternoon of Thanksgiving the same way that it typically does. So we came a day early here with the picks and the prognostication on the Winning Cures platforms. That's why we're here. And I know we're fired up. Can you believe what I'm about to utter? Final week of the regular season is here. 14 weeks in the books. Yeah.
You know what's crazy? This is what it's November 27th.
Correct.
And we still have a month left before we can really crown a national champion.
Yeah.
Like we still
we keep talking about it is such a crazy year. Anything can happen. Do you believe, as I do, before we get into the picks, underdogs only against the number? That's all we're looking for on this show, whether you're seeing us on video or hearing us on podcast. We've said several times, do you still agree? I still believe there could be any one of about 10 teams that I could make a case for that emerge and win the college football playoff. Do you agree that it's that many? Do you think we've narrowed it down that realistically it's only 4 or 5 or 6? What do you think?
I think realistically it's probably closer to like 6, but no, maybe it is 10. I mean, it's maybe I know some teams that can get in that will not have an opportunity.
Right.
But well, let me take that back. They will have an opportunity. I just don't believe that they will be capable of winning that many games in a row against good competition.
But I mean, if I start going down a list, I'm just going to do this off the top of my head. And I say Georgia, if I say Texas, stop me when you hear somebody that you don't think can win the national title. Ohio State, Oregon. What else am I looking for? Miami. Maybe not.
I mean, Cam Ward gets hot. They've got enough
Notre Dame
talent.
How am I doing so far? We're up to 6 right there.
Notre Dame, I don't think can.
Okay.
I don't think.
What I mean, Penn State. Would you put Penn State in the category? Maybe. That could win the national title? Probably not. They don't win enough of the big games to think that they could win 3 of them. I don't know.
They just had a tackle get hurt, and he's going to be out. So
right. And they've had some narrow escapes, etc. So, okay, maybe it's not 10, maybe it's 8, maybe it's 7, but it's just still going to be wild. It's still the first time ever they've had a 12-team playoff. And for whomever the champion is, you got to win 3 rounds of it. Every other year, it's either been a BCS 1 game or it's been only 2 games, a semifinal and a championship. You now have to win a 3rd different game to win the whole thing.
You think Tennessee can?
Yes. There's another one. Add that to the list. I think they could. Yes, out of the SEC.
I think Nico has to show something that he has not shown yet.
And, there's probably a fly in the ointment that could emerge too. Is that somebody like SMU? Is that somebody like an Arizona State wild card or an Iowa State wild card out of the Big 12? I don't know.
Before we get into the games, riddle me this. You know how this thing works. It's a TV product.
Mm-hmm.
SMU loses in the ACC championship game.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a top 25 win.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama wins the Iron Bowl, or Ole Miss wins the Egg Bowl, or South Carolina beats Clemson, whatever. Let's say that happens. Let's say South Carolina beats Clemson, so now Clemson has 3 losses. Miami wins the ACC. SMU has 2 losses, but no good wins, like 0 good wins. Do they put either Alabama, Ole Miss, or South Carolina into this thing over a 2-loss SMU?
Very possibly. And do you start looking at who's the fourth Big Ten team that they will put in,
and then
et cetera, et
I think
cetera?
the Big Ten's already going to have 4. Like Ohio State, Oregon, Indiana, Penn State.
I would say yes.
I think those are in.
I don't know that it's a lock. I don't
team.
know that it's a lock that it's all 4 of them. Maybe it is. But yeah, you bring up a great point because who ultimately is pulling the strings for everything Southeastern Conference from a television standpoint and is the TV partner of the college football playoff. And I keep saying this, you know this, we said it at the beginning of the year. They set up these made-for-TV matchups at the beginning of the year that are critical to strength of schedule for a lot of these teams. It's ESPN setting the games up. So from the very jump in every aspect, they're involved, including with the Southeastern Conference. So the short answer is yes. I could easily see a scenario where an Alabama, Ole Miss, or South Carolina is somehow in there and a second ACC, a second Big 12 is not in there.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
I'll tell you this. That committee, because this is a TV product, and they got to re-up this thing in a couple of years. They're going to be, it's a look-in clause, whatever. They're going to be talking more money. Do you know how much they would salivate over the idea of Alabama going to Eugene, Oregon for a 12-5 matchup for that first weekend?
Oh, of course.
The TV ratings,
the brand names,
absolutely bananas.
The brand names. And we do know the playoff is going to expand by 4 more teams to 16 and get ready for 5 SEC teams or Big Ten teams to be involved in a 16-team playoff. Just get ready. Because that's what's coming down the road. All right. So what we do, thank you for finding us. Make sure that you are hitting the like button. Make sure that you're subscribed to Gary's great content right here on the YouTube channel and on winningcureseverything.com. If you're only hearing us on the 3 Dog Thursday podcast, come see what we look like on his platforms here with 3 Dog Thursday. Love it. What we do is look for 3 underdogs each simply to cover. Again, kudos to Jason Powers. Last week, he got one of his with the UAB Blazers and the outright win at home. How about I got Florida outright. I got Kansas outright with wins, and Minnesota was right there to maybe make it 3 for 3 on outright wins. We only need the cover, Gary. That's all we need. And again, I love having you here, and I love mixing it up. So I want you to go first. Give me an underdog on this final weekend of the regular season that you like.
I'm going to start off with Saturday morning, UTSA going up against Army. So they are going to West Point. There is not a single team that has covered a spread the week after they play Notre Dame this year.
How about that?
Not one. It's so Army, of course, just got absolutely shellacked by the Irish last week. UTSA has come on strong here lately. Their offense is absolutely clicking. The best offense that Army had faced before Notre Dame was Charlotte, maybe. I mean, something along the East Carolina. Like, I mean, we're not talking anything crazy here. And you saw exactly what Notre Dame did to them. Army could do nothing to stop them. This UTSA offense with Owen McCown, the quarterback, they are absolutely rolling right now. I expect them to put up quite a few points here. They are much more disciplined than North Texas was. North Texas probably the best offense that Army had faced. You saw that game. I mean, that was just absolute debauchery that happened there because the kid, what's his name? Chandler Morris.
Chandler Morris, right?
Throws the 2 interceptions in the end zone. I mean, they get down to the
Army controlled like 41 minutes or 42 minutes of the clock in that game and suffocated them like a boa constrictor.
And only put up 14 points on that just porous North Texas defense. I think UTSA has kind of hit their stride here lately. It took them a while to kind of get things figured out because obviously you lose a generational quarterback for them like Frank Harris, and it took a little bit. But they are significantly better now. UTSA, I think, wins the game outright, so I'm getting 7 with them right now. Yeah, I will take UTSA plus the 7.
I love it. Little Thanksgiving side dish, like a little mac and cheese, like a little green bean casserole. Give him the UTSA Roadrunners and Owen McCown. It's staggering because I've got a Buccaneer hat on for the podcast audience that can't see us. His daddy, Josh McCown, quarterbacked briefly for the Bucs. He quarterbacked for practically half the NFL teams. But back about a decade ago, when Owen was a little guy, and Owen looked so much facially, mannerisms like Josh McCown, right down to the blonde hair, except he's left-handed. Yes. Daddy was right-handed. He's left-handed. So I'm fascinated to watch this unfold. And just a quick aside, again, I was in New Jersey with the Buccaneers for the game with the Giants with the Meadowlands. We were contemplating last Saturday night when we got there, might we venture to Yankee Stadium to watch Notre Dame and Army if it did not cost the same as a house payment to try to do it? And so we were looking at each other going, are we going to try this? Several of us. And we were looking at 30 degrees-ish, 38 degrees, upper deck of Yankee Stadium, $250, $300 a ticket on the secondary market. And I did say to a couple of the guys standing there, what if Notre Dame just whips them? And we're sitting there in the third quarter in a blowout game regretting that we're freezing to death and we're still going to have to pay $150 for an Uber to get back across the Hudson River to New Jersey. So when that game, Gary, became 35-7, 42-7, I looked like a prophet. I looked like a soothsayer on that as we moved on in the warm restaurant to another game. We just watched another game on TV. We weren't at Yankee Stadium, as it turns out for that.
That was one of my wins last week, so that worked out pretty well. I had Notre Dame minus. I had to take it at 14.5 on the show.
Oh, it was easy though.
But yeah, just an easy win. I love.
Sometimes, like we like to say in sports, in the general manager world, the best trade is the one you don't make. Sometimes the best move you make is the move you don't make, like doing all of that to go to Yankee Stadium after what Notre Dame did to Army. All right, let's continue. I owe you an underdog. Rivalry games galore, Gary Segars. Let's go to the showdown with Georgia and Georgia Tech. Certainly, Georgia already knows we're in the SEC title game. One could even make the argument here, this doesn't really even matter that much for the college football playoff, except they're vying for a bye. They don't want to be playing at home on the first weekend. I believe they would be in a home game in the first weekend.
You still need to win.
I don't know.
If say Georgia loses this one, that's 3 losses.
Right.
Then you go to the SEC championship game, you screw around there, you end up getting beat. Then you got
that's a fourth loss. That's a different argument because now you're putting in the variable that they lose the SEC title game. I'm saying this game with Georgia Tech, I don't know how much they're going to stay on the accelerator, how much they're going to care, because the SEC title game means everything next week, including for the bye, et cetera. Now, if you lose this week, you're probably not getting the bye because you got 3 losses, even with the SEC title win. Nonetheless, Georgia Tech has 2 upsets this year already as a double-digit underdog. Way back, it seems like it was 3 years ago, at the beginning of the season against Florida State in Ireland. And God, Florida State turned out to be awful. But they were 10-point underdogs, won the game outright. Then we turn around a couple of weeks ago. They're a double-digit dog at home in Atlanta, and they beat Miami outright. And you have the number on Brent Key overall at Georgia Tech as a double-digit dog, please.
8-5 against the spread as a double-digit dog.
I got a lot of compelling reasons to think it's close. Georgia also has kept a couple of teams in the game with closer games, Mississippi State being one of them late in the year. Heck, last week, at least for one quarter, UMass was in the game. I don't need Georgia Tech to win. It can even be a 2-touchdown margin. I'm still good with getting 19.5. Again, this is on a Friday night. Interesting that ESPN has spread some of this out because of their exclusive involvement with the SEC, putting the Egg Bowl on Friday, putting this game on Friday. I'll take the Yellow Jackets, the rambling wreck here, plus the 19.5 just to keep it close. I went with the too many points theme last week several times. Too many points here for the Yellow Jackets. Quick thought from you, or shall we move on?
So I agree with you 100%. Georgia is 2-13-1 the last, 16 times that they have been more than a 2-touchdown favorite.
Wow.
They don't care about covering a number. They just do not care whatsoever. Buster Faulkner, the offensive coordinator for Georgia Tech, I think the guy's a genius. Absolute genius. They are incredibly annoying with what they do. And Tyler Santucci, the new defensive coordinator that came in, he's a guy that and this will actually be good for Georgia, I think, because Santucci runs a very similar defense to what Elko ran, because Santucci was at Duke with Elko. This will kind of prep Georgia a little bit, but Santucci can throw some different stuff at them first. They have already improved their tackling dramatically from last season. I think you're right. Like, I don't know that Georgia Tech can win the game. I think they can absolutely be pesky enough to hang around in this one.
Love it. All right, so that's my first underdog. It is 3-Dog Thursday. If you're only hearing us, that's the voice of Gary Segars, TJ Rives with you. Come find us. You're seeing us on the Winning Cures Everything YouTube page. Thank you again to Gary for letting us cohabitate, hang out, sleep on the sofa, whatever you want to call it. It's Thanksgiving on Thursday, so we came your way with this show on Wednesday in advance of the holiday. Hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed to Gary's content. Leave us some comments down below this video. That also helps in the algorithms for helping the video be seen more by others. And now let's go to an underdog. You've got another one here for me. Are you looking the way of an ACC hound?
I am certainly. The numbers would not tell you to take this one. Okay. But I'm going to go with Syracuse getting 10.5 at home on Saturday against Miami. That's it. The Hurricanes. This is a pressure situation. We have seen Mario Cristobal in these kind of situations before. They let Wake Forest hang around forever. They have let a ton of teams hang around, and then they absolutely open the floodgates in the fourth because they just overwhelm people. Syracuse is 8-3 this year. Fran Brown has done a fantastic job with this team. I wonder about this Miami defense. They're really good on the line of scrimmage. I don't feel like the secondary is overwhelming, and I think that Gadsden. I don't know that Miami has anybody that can guard that guy. So I think that there's a few pieces here and there that Syracuse can take advantage of. And I'm telling you, Syracuse would love nothing more than to ruin Miami's playoff season. Because if Miami loses this game, Clemson, whether they win or lose against South Carolina, they're going to the ACC championship game. Could you imagine a 3-loss Clemson beating SMU in the ACC championship game, and Clemson goes to the playoff? Because they would be the 5th highest.
The automatic bid, right? The automatic champion.
It would kind of depend, right? Because at that point, maybe the ACC gets left out. Because maybe Tulane just demolishes Memphis, demolishes Army, and Tulane moves up into the top 15, top 12, whatever it might be. There's a lot of different ways that this thing can go. So,
well, let's talk about what the Orange have done recently. A win over UConn that was probably closer than what they wanted to, close for comfort, a touchdown win. All right, maybe it was a look ahead, but they went out to Berkeley and beat Cal, who's decent.
Look ahead.
And we have also seen a wild overtime win over Virginia Tech. They lost a wild game 37-31 with BC. They do have, what do I see, 4 covers in the last 7 games. I like this.
They're 4-2 against the spread as a dog so far.
I like this just like you like this. And again, it's 10.5 points here. And I'm sorry, Mario Cristobal has faltered in these kind of situations before. Let's be honest. They've had 2 or 3 Houdini jobs to be where they are right now with only the 1 loss. The Fail Mary game with Virginia Tech, where, again, we keep repeating, the kid caught the ball and they called it a touchdown, and they overruled the caught ball touchdown to keep Miami alive on the last play of the game with an unbeaten season. They were down, 20-plus points in the second half at Cal in the fourth quarter and roared back to win. So they lived dangerously for a while until Georgia Tech got them a couple of weeks ago. I just agree that Syracuse at home, they've called it the Carrier Dome for 45 years. Now they've changed the name to something else, whatever that thing is, the former Carrier Dome.
JBL Carrier Dome?
Whatever. I like them. I like the Orange with you, brother. Let me piggyback on you. You and I are taking Syracuse together, 3:30 Eastern time. Does it dash the Miami playoff hopes here to take a second loss, potentially put them in jeopardy of not being in the college football playoff when they were unbeaten going in a couple of weeks ago?
That stat I just gave you, by the way, Syracuse, 4-2 against the spread as a dog this year.
Yes, sir.
Also 4-2 straight up as a dog this year.
We like that.
Won all of them outright.
We like the Orange here late in the year. And by the way, if you're looking to go to that game at the former Carrier Dome, if you're looking to go to any of these games, rivalries all over the place. The Iron Bowl, Auburn, Alabama. I've had the privilege to be at that game the last couple of times that they've played it and call it on national radio. But it doesn't matter if we're talking Texas and Texas A&M, renewing the rivalry at Kyle Field. We're going to talk briefly about Arizona State later on in the program. Oh, the big game is going to come up between the game between Ohio State and Michigan. If you're trying to go to any it's a TicketSmarter, ticketsmarter.com, the TicketSmarter mobile app. You see it right on the screen here. Gary's platform does a great job of promoting these tickets that are available on the secondary market. You're going to get the best prices on the secondary market. Your purchase is safe and secure and guaranteed. And we've got promo code offers. If you spend $100, which you probably will on a good seat for any of these rivalry games across the board, Notre Dame, USC, you think you're getting a better seat for anything under $100? Think again at the Coliseum. Use WCE10 to take $10 off an order of $100 or more. And Gary, as you know, take $20 off an order of $300 or more. 2 good seats for Clemson, South Carolina. 2 good seats for any of these different rivalry matchups all throughout college football. WCE20 takes $20 off. It's Ticket Smarter, the Ticket Smarter mobile app. Think smarter, Ticket Smarter. Get in the game with Ticket Smarter. So, all right, where do you want to go for underdog number 3? You have one more. I have one more. What do you like on 3 Dog Thursday?
Let's go to Dallas, and I'm going to take the Cal Golden Bears at plus 13.5 at SMU.
Wow.
Now, again, this is another one that the numbers would not tell you to do this. My numbers have SMU favored by almost 17 points. Based on the last 4 weeks, I would actually have SMU favored by 20-something. But I know everybody saw the clip of Fernando Mendoza last week, and he was crying after coming back against Stanford, etc. You and I have talked about this numerous times. You take Cal as a double-digit dog. You bet against them when they are a double-digit favorite. So last week against Stanford, they were a 2-touchdown favorite against Stanford, and they had to come back and win the game. This week, they're going on the road. They got no expectations. SMU, with all the pressure in the world, all of a sudden, people are talking about this little plucky, up-and-coming AAC franchise that went to the ACC and is now going to play in their title game, etc. And they're saying even if they lose the ACC title game, they could get into the playoff. I'm just saying. Justin Wilcox in that defense, you got all the pressure in the world on SMU. Cal's got nothing to lose. Nothing. They're eligible for a bowl after last week.
Yeah, go for broke kind of situation. And again, wasn't the number before the Miami game 9-2 in the last 11 as I believe just an underdog, or was it a double-digit underdog?
Just an underdog.
Just as an underdog. They covered obviously against Miami. They may have another cover since then, but as a double-digit underdog, it's over and over and over again.
Yeah. 13-5 in the last 18.
13-5 anybody would take. You're going to say Cal Bears
plus 13.5
against SMU. And it will be weird if SMU is in the ACC title game here in their first year in the conference. Because again, they basically
they're already in. They're in. They are. They're
sitting isolated in the middle of the state of Texas, nowhere near any of the schools that they've been playing all year in conference play. And that includes this, with Cal and Stanford being all the way on the West Coast. At least they have each other, and all the other programs across the Eastern Seaboard and the Carolina Tobacco Road and whatever, they have no connection to Dallas, Texas. But here we go with SMU, and you like Cal and Mendoza, that quarterback. Rhett Lashley, by the way, new contract extension. It's worth what? It's the same thing with Cignetti at Indiana. It's only worth what's the buyout. If somebody else really wants to hire them, what's the buyout to keep them from going somewhere else? As Lashley has cashed in for Southern Methodist. All right, we owe you one more, underdog. Let's go to Saturday. And if we're talking about a letdown spot, is it maybe a letdown from Arizona State? Gary Segars, have they cleared the field yet at Old Sun Devil Stadium? Because I think all the students were on the field for at least 3 or 4 days with the BYU game, including the chaotic put 1 second back on the clock scenario where Kenny Dillingham, the Sun Devil coach, had a total meltdown. Still, it was the right call. I'm still sitting here now as we do this 5 days later saying that's the stupidest thing I think I have ever seen with clock management in a college football game, to have Sam Levitt, the quarterback, run backwards the first time like 10 yards or 20 yards, then run backwards another 30 or 40 yards where you're not even in field goal range for what you want to do at the end of the game. It was just insanity, and they screwed it up with him throwing the ball out of bounds, as everybody's seen by now, with 1 second still left on the clock. And BYU connects on the Hail Mary inside the 5-yard line to almost beat them. Weigh in on the stupidity of that, and then let's talk ASU and Arizona in the rivalry game real quick.
It reminded me of, do you remember, was it 2009 when Ndamukong Suh and Nebraska thought that they had won the Big 12 title game against Texas? And
because Colt McCoy's trying to run out of bounds at Jerry's World.
Well,
and
he
they
threw
thought,
the
because the clock
and,
said zeros, they thought he did not get out of bounds in time, but replay said put the second back on the clock.
That's right. And they kicked a field goal and ended up winning it, went to the national title game. But yeah, that's kind of what it felt like. It was, you're just trying to get that last second off the clock. Now, Texas was trying to save a second, but in that situation, I mean, Arizona State, like, guys, just run the ball. Like, just like,
right.
There were so many different options other than what he did. And with that much time left, it did not make any kind of sense at all. And I think Kenny Dillingham is an incredibly smart offensive just guru, right? I think he just overthought the whole situation.
I think he tried to prove he's the smartest guy of all time, and it almost backfired for all time in that scenario. Because again, you could have danced around. You could have run around in the backfield. You could have thrown the ball to somebody in the backfield that runs around and runs some more clock like you're doing without retreating 30 or 40 yards to do it, where you're still in field goal range to kick the field goal if you want to, or go for it on fourth down if you want to, or whatever you want to do. Crazy that they survive that. So now the question becomes, in this rivalry game with Arizona, who's had a bad season, although Arizona has gotten a win here late in the year where they destroyed Houston. It's been a surprise. I mean, the way that they started on opening night with Titaroa McMillan, T-Mac, the outstanding receiver, having a 300-yard game, you thought this was potentially going to be a huge year for Arizona. Big 12 was very rough on Arizona, but this is a rivalry game. Here we go again. I don't care about Arizona's record. I wonder if there's a little letdown factor for ASU. Yes, they are still vying for the Big 12 title game, but I think this is close. This is closer than 8.5 points. This is at 1:30 Mountain Time, 2:30 Central where Gary is, 3:30 Eastern Time. I think the Wildcats at home hang in, and that is my third underdog here for this week. You've got a couple of numbers in this rivalry in specific, either straight up or against the spread for ASU and Arizona. It's now a Big 12 game, their first year in the Big 12, but go ahead.
Yeah, Arizona has won the last 2 in a row. And before last year, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, before last year, I still see you. I still see you. I still hear you. And before last year, what Arizona State had won 3 straight. Am I right, Gary Segars?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, they had won 3 straight before that. And I'm trying to pull up. Well, let's see.
Something on your screen?
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up the Arizona State stats. And what I'm looking for is, let's see.
It's a live show, folks. He continues to thumb through. By the way, is Cam Skattebo, the outstanding running back for Arizona State, going to end up being the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year to the exclusion of Shedeur Sanders, or maybe, and some are saying Travis Hunter should be there, or maybe it's RJ Harvey or Devin Neal or somebody. I think it might be Skattebo for Arizona State. I wonder if Arizona doesn't have something for them at home, emotional, screw it up for them, cost them the Big 12 title game. I'm going the rivalry angle, Gary.
That does make sense. Here, I finally got this pulled up, and the echo that I was hearing is now gone, so that's a lot better. Arizona State on defense, the direction you're going with McMillan and, of course, Fafita throwing the ball, that is Arizona State's worst part of their defense, right? They are number 71 in predicted points added allowed per pass. They are number 106 in passing success rate allowed, number 106 in passing explosiveness allowed. So you kind of saw it in the second half against BYU. Now, obviously, Arizona State jumped on them early. Against BYU, like, the Cougars were moving the ball. They were clicking in that second half, and you put a little bit of time left on that thing, and I think BYU wins outright. Arizona has a passing offense that is capable of doing that if you cannot figure out where T-Mac is, right? So I like where you're going with this. This is, I think the whole world is going to be on Arizona State because it just feels like the line's a little short, but they haven't moved it yet.
Rivalry games, and anything can happen. Look out. Let's see if it's close. So that is underdog number 3 is the Arizona Wildcats. And again, we don't have 15 more minutes to go over the Big 12 scenarios of who's in the title game with 2 losses in this tie or that tie. Believe it or not, Gary Segars, there's a scenario where Colorado, BYU, Arizona State, and Iowa State could all lose. And if they do, and if Baylor beats Kansas, I'm almost half rooting for this, then the winner of Texas Tech and West Virginia would join 7 total teams with 3 losses. And somebody get out the Bible, somebody get out an abacus, get out whatever you have to figure out the 7-team tiebreaker with 3 losses. It's not going to happen. But it could happen that we have 2 or 3 teams with 3 losses that are the other team. Somebody on a tiebreaker is the other team with a 2-loss team in the Big 12 title game between BYU, Iowa State, Arizona State, and Colorado. How will it all shake out this weekend? Let's see. Let's see for the Big 12's sake, and an automatic spot in the college football playoff will be up for grabs on that. We need to tell you about one more sponsor, and then we're going to get out of here in a moment after talking about a couple of other underdogs. Let's go to another sponsor here on 3 Dog Thursday on the video show.
Well, it's not playing. Hold on.
Apparently, it doesn't want to play. We're live. We're live. We're live on the day before. Of course, you want me to tell you about Go Sleeves and the therapeutic technology for the knees, for the elbows, for the calves, kinesiology technologies, I like to say. It helps you with recovery. It helps you with inflammation, increases blood flow. They are a great sponsor here on 3 Dog Thursday, and a lot of you are already taking part in purchases, especially at holiday time here for Go Sleeves. Again, if you play, as you'll see on the video here, tennis, pickleball, you're a runner, you're a biker, you play basketball, golf, weekend warrior of any kind, use Go Sleeves and this technology for the knees, for the elbows, for the calves. We recommend it highly, and use the promo code WCE. It is go time with Go Sleeves. And again, we've already had numerous people participating using your promo code WCE off the platform. Again, use our sponsor, Go Sleeves, GoSleeves.com, to help out with the aching elbow, tennis elbow, golf elbow, the knees, pickleball, running, biking, all of it. It's go time with Go Sleeves. So thank you. We got that to work out. We're almost done. Almost a clean getaway.
I'm about to throw this laptop out the window.
It's okay. We're gonna get through it on the day before Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful that the laptop is hanging in. Say something about Michigan and Ohio State. I stayed away from it. Is it too many points early Saturday? Ohio State trying to punch the ticket, be in the Big 12 or in the Big 10 title game. Is the 21 too many points?
So, no, I don't think it is. What gets real finicky with this is that you think, obviously, you saw Ryan Day toss on an extra touchdown at the end of that Indiana game. He wanted to let Sig Vicious know what's up, right? So I think he'll do the same thing here, except that Michigan's defensive line is significantly better than Indiana's. And if Michigan can get to the quarterback, which we didn't really see much of a difference with that Ohio State offensive line. But remember, Seth McLaughlin is out for the year. The left tackle out for the year. Are the backups capable of defending against Michigan's defensive line? So that's going to be the question. I think Ohio State covers. I feel good about it, but that could be the tricky part.
Buckeyes have been lying in wait, Gary, for years here. They've dropped, 3 in a row in the series, I think it is. So they are ready at Columbus. They don't want to have a senior class. I know with the transfer portal, you got so many new players, but they don't want to have a senior class that says we never beat Michigan. Are you kidding me? So that one is the big noon game on Fox. Interested also in USC Notre Dame in the afternoon at the Coliseum. Notre Dame off the win against Army, now goes all the way west to play USC, looking to make their season. They're 6-5. This would end their season at 7-5 and maybe cost Notre Dame the college football playoff, possibly. Touchdown line, 7-point line, something like that. Quick thought, Gary?
Yeah, it was 6.5. It's up to 7 now. This one is interesting, right? Notre Dame has not faced a passing attack like this. So that's going to be it's the most talented offense that they have faced. I don't know that they've had a quarterback or a wide receiver core like this one that they faced since really early in the season. And that, I mean, even then, I don't know if Texas A&M is comparable. On the same side, USC, I mean, they've been through a gauntlet, and they have not. They are the only team in the country that has led in every fourth quarter and has 5 losses.
How about that?
So it's, this is a team that's only had 1-score losses all season.
Sure.
But.
And they are a different team at home, and it is Notre Dame. I was close to maybe taking this, but I passed on it and went ahead and went with Arizona, who I like better at home, obviously.
This is a bit of like ball don't lie kind of thing. Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois, and it's like everybody just completely forgot about it.
Mm-hmm.
I know they've been killing everybody lately, but do we think they're just going to get in the playoffs?
They can run the ball, and USC's defense is not very good. So can the Trojans?
They've had a lot of injuries.
Can they match them with points? Let's find out. Again, that's the CBS 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific game, and one more Texas A&M. I know we got Alabama, Auburn. I know there's some other rivalry games as well. Florida State is a debacle in our state. Clemson, South Carolina, but I'm interested in Texas A&M, where A&M is the home dog by almost a touchdown here. What is it, 5.5?
It's up to 6.
It's up to 6. Any quick thought on that before we're gone?
So I'm curious what the A&M offense looks like against Texas's defense. I think A&M is going to be able to get plenty of pressure because even if Quinn Ewers plays, I think he's going to be kind of immobile, right? He's got the ankle injury from last week, had an MRI done. They said he's fine. They said, yeah, he's going to go. But curious about A&M. They have not been able to run the ball ever since Moss went out with the injury. So what is that going to look like? The offensive line has been okay. Marcel Reed, not the most dangerous passer. And he just kind of misses open guys sometimes. But friendly confines, going to be at home at Kyle Field. That stadium,
you want to
talk about going into a buzzsaw. Like,
they haven't played Texas in
2011.
I mean, my God, they are frothing for this game Saturday night. And again, for A&M and for Texas, they both know we have to have this to be in the SEC title game. So this is meaningful.
And this is the second best team that Texas has played all year.
Yeah.
Like they were kind of hanging their hat on the Michigan win. Michigan kind of not great. And outside of that, like
Georgia put it on them.
Yeah.
Now let's see what they have here. Let's see the true metal here. They've had some good wins, good wins, but let's see what happens here.
If that Texas offensive line could not handle Georgia, this Texas A&M defensive line with Nick Scourton and company, boy. Like,
stay tuned. Stay tuned. We could be here for another half hour.
Oh, yeah.
We got to go get the food in the oven. We got to go get the casseroles made, the turkey. Do you do the smoked turkey? Do you do the oven turkey? What do you do for the Thanksgiving? Just real quick. Smoked for you. My mother-in-law makes the mean oven turkey. We'll be at my in-laws' house. I am responsible for the green bean casserole. I have been for about 20 years. It's idiot-proof. It is frozen broccoli or green beans. It is Velveeta cheese. It is crushed up Ritz crackers in butter spread on top of it, and it's in the oven for like 25 minutes. It's virtually idiot-proof, and that's why I'm in charge of making it for Thanksgiving. So I'm going to be in charge of that. We love casseroles. Pumpkin pie or pecan pie? Which are you? I don't know that I've ever asked you this before.
No, I don't guess you have. I think I prefer pumpkin pie, but brother, I will eat both.
You gotta have pecan pie with a little ice cream on it. I'm not so much of a pumpkin pie guy.
I have so literally every day. I meal prep every week. So my lunches, I have a banana with walnuts every single day. So
the pecan. Yeah. I understand. Yeah, my mother-in-law makes a mean red velvet cake and puts that out at either Thanksgiving or Christmas while I prop her up. Love it.
Down at some point.
Love it. Bring it on down for the desserts. Gary Segars, listen, you did great. Thank you for hanging in with me. We got this done on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Everybody have a safe Thanksgiving, especially those traveling by road, by air. Be careful. Tremendous college football weekend. And whatever happens, we're going to come back around next week for Championship Saturday. We will know SEC, ACC, Big 10, Big 12 participants. Big 12, we think that they'll have it figured out by December 7th. We hope so. Look forward to all of it. Gary Segars, thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for hanging in here with me again. Happy Thanksgiving, brother.
Hey, and to you. And to you. This has been a fun season. We're not done yet. Obviously, we're going to be going through bowl games and whatnot. But yeah, this has been a wild ride trying to fit in all of these different things that I've got to get done. But
I know
it's been a good time. I'll tell you that.
It's great stuff. And again, follow Gary through Winning Cures Everything and at Gary WCE if you're only hearing us on the podcast. If you're seeing us on the video, you know Gary does great work, not just with the underdogs, favorites, totals, all of it on this platform, obviously. And we love that. And also catch him on the BetUS college football show with Parker and Kyle as they went over everything this week. But Gary just gave you 3 underdogs that he likes on this show: UTSA, Syracuse, and Cal. I agree with him on the Qs. I like Georgia Tech to keep it close and Arizona to keep it close. Let's see what happens with the underdogs. Gary Segars, thank you. Audience, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving from us on 3 Dog Thursday.